I was imagining all the people that I can help without being invasive, without giving them medications, just by using these right here.
Hi everyone, I'm Matt LaMarsh with Keller Williams First Atlanta, and this is Selling Sandy Springs. So tell us who you guys are and where we are today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Allie Friedman Puro, and this is my husband.
Dr. Shaun Puro.
And we are in a practice together located in Sandy Springs called AlternaHealth Solutions. We practice with my father, who's been in practice for about 27 years. We are an upper cervical chiropractic office. And pretty much to tell you a little bit about us, we met in chiropractic school at Life University. It's a very romantic story. We met in cadaver lab. He, after a year of practicing in New Jersey, came down and we got married, and now we're in practice together.
Fantastic. Very good. And tell us a little more about the business here. What makes you guys different?
So we decided that after me coming down from New Jersey and permanently moving here, Allie and I decided that a 17-mile drive from Alpharetta is just not going to cut it. So we wanted to really get to know Sandy Springs in depth, and the best way to do that is by moving our location. So we decided to live here, and the best way to take care of people in our community is,
to serve them through health.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's our way of giving back.
Very good. And what is, obviously there's a lot of chiropractors out there, right? So what makes you guys different, and what's the approach here, and how is it different than other chiropractors?
Most chiropractic offices, what they do is they'll look at your posture and call it a day, or they'll measure a postural misalignment on a two-dimensional x-ray. We have the potential to actually measure the human body three-dimensionally by looking at the postural breakdown with the device that he invented himself. So we can measure the weight difference and the rotation, which indicates the collapse of the human body.
So what makes us different than the hundreds of other chiropractors that are in and around Atlanta area is we do not practice any twisting, cracking, or popping. We are an upper cervical chiropractic based technique, but tonal, which means we look at the muscle component to that. We only touch, though, in the upper cervical area, which is here. Like I said, it's very light, and we don't do any twisting, cracking, or popping. We practice a technique called quantum spinal mechanics 3, which my father and his father-in-law created. That is posturally analyzing and evaluating the patient and their trauma and misalignment breakdown.
And then what we also do to complement that is we offer functional therapy, where we assess, is the body restricted or broken down because there's a joint dysfunction, is there a muscle tightness dysfunction, or is there a stability issue? And then we retrain the body on how to correctly move, and we connect those missing pieces. So with the adjustment, we do the therapy, so that way we get the body up, centered, and on its way out.
What can someone expect their first visit?
So as soon as you enter the door, you're going to be greeted by our fantastic front office manager, and she is going to make sure that all your paperwork is satisfied. She's going to bring you back here, and then you're going to meet with one of the doctors, and we're going to get started right away. So we're going to look at your full spine set of x-rays. We're going to also measure your posture on the three-dimensional posture IQ that's only found in this office. And then we'll also deliver your first adjustment. But before all that, we're going to sit down, talk about what's going on, and we're going to correlate with how you're feeling and relate it to what's going on structurally and how the numbers reflect what's going on the inside.
Perfect. And then based on that, what does the future look like for clients?
Mm-hmm. So eventually we work them through a protocol, so they'll get some adjustments and then they'll do some functional work. And so we're going to take them from a place that's broken down to a place that's actually functional. And a lot of people come in here saying that my performance has been inhibited or restricted because of their body's inability to move. So if you're a golf player, for example, and you know your potential is better than what you're currently playing, but your golf swing's affected, we can actually look at that whole thing as a global perspective, and we can take the restriction out starting at the alignment of your spine, and functionally improve that golf swing so that way your game gets better.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit about the perspective on every customer's different, every client's a little bit different. How do you guys personalize? What's your approach there?
So everyone that walks into this office is individualized. We don't have a standard plan or model for the masses. Everyone, based off of their structure, their severity, their symptoms, has an individual assessment and outcome, as well as what they'd objectively like to achieve too. So some are on a functional standpoint where they'd like to have increase in maybe their ability to play golf. Others with Parkinson's or other upper motor neuron diseases would like to just walk. So, based off of that, we give them an evaluation and a clear cut but not a cookie cutter model on what to expect in this office.
So tell us a little more about why chiropractic. Like, how did you guys get here? What made you guys decide to get into this business?
So I'm a second generation chiropractor. Like I said, we both practiced with my father. And I was a patient long before I was a doctor. I was actually my dad's first patient, and what kind of inspired him to become an upper cervical chiropractor. Like most patients, our first misalignment comes from the birthing process, and that's exactly what happened to me. I was taken out with forceps, and the head sits on a couplet, or your first bone, known as your atlas, and the forceps that I was taking out smushed one of them. So one of my bones, or one of my condyles, is about this size, the other one's normal size. But long story short, that affected and put pressure on my 10th cranial nerve, my vagus nerve, which innervates all your vital organs, and my stomach and digestive system was more directly affected by that. So from a young age, I always remembered there wasn't a night where I would go to sleep and wouldn't have projectile vomiting and stomach irritability, as well as migraines coupled with anxiety. My dad went to chiropractic school at Life University when I was 4 years old after we moved from Florida, and I had a couple treatments and chiropractic adjustments from alternative techniques, and it wasn't until I had an adjustment with an upper cervical chiropractor that I had the first night ever of relief and resolution of those symptoms that I had had for 4 years.
Wow.
So that's pretty much what inspired my dad to going down the upper cervical route and techniques in school.
Wow.
So,
Originally, I actually wanted to go to dental school. I wanted to either be an oral surgeon or a neurosurgeon, but I didn't want to spend crazy hours in medical school, and I was thinking of future plans like being there for my family. So I had a 4-year track for dental school at SUNY Buffalo, and what ended up happening was my sophomore year of undergrad, I started developing severe neck pain to the point where I couldn't even turn my head to the right more than here. And it was kind of, alarming to me. And some days would be okay, like a stiff neck, but then there'd be days where I couldn't even hold my head up or turn more than this, and it started to scare me. So, my thought process was I probably need surgery, need some type of medication for the rest of my life. I didn't really know or understand chiropractic. So what ended up happening was I told my parents about this, and they brought me to a family friend who's a chiropractor, and after 3 visits, all the symptoms of me not being able to turn my head to the right for an entire year, or some days, holding my head up because it felt so unstable, were gone after 3 visits. And I know that doesn't happen for everyone, but I was like, this is a miracle. So
this is what we want to do.
Yeah, so from then and there, I was like, I was imagining all the people that I can help without being invasive, without giving them medications, just by using these right here. So I eventually ended up applying to chiropractic school, and I came down to Atlanta, and that's where I met Allie, and we started out as friends and study buddies, and it was just love at
Here
first.
we are.
Yeah, here we are. It was love at first sight, but yeah.
So tell us a little more about this area, why you guys chose this, both to live here, but also to create the business here.
So we are a big fan of this area. One, for the conveniency and accessibility for our patients. We're right outside the perimeter off of exit 6 off of 400 North Ridge Parkway. But to live in this community as well, we're outdoor people. We love doing things. We're physically active people as well. So we love having the accessibility of using the Chattahoochee. Both like to walk and run, and do outdoor water sports. We also love Canton Street. We have a few favorite restaurants off that strip, and it's always a good time with the live music and families pretty much in the area.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. And we're in a prime location outside the perimeter, like she said, and Atlanta is not that far from us either. And we're kind of like the center hub of where a majority of our patients come, whether they're on their way to work or they're leaving work. They're always passing this area, so it makes it very easy for people to get to us.
What's next for the business here?
So ideally what we'd like to do is we'd like to open up a bigger facility. Right now we have great space, but essentially with what we're trying to do and how many people we're trying to reach out and help, we want to have a facility that offers personal training sessions with people that understand what we do and how we correct the body, and work with us to come up with strengthening exercises to help promote and help the person hold the adjustment,
as well as in a safe and monitored environment.
Absolutely. And we'd love to eventually have multiple locations, definitely in the Sandy Springs area, one on this end and one on another end, so that way we have both sides that are being taken care of.
Well, also in a technique standpoint, there's about a little less than 100 chiropractors that in the nationwide that are doing quantum spinal mechanics, QSM3. So we are looking to expand more chiropractors' education in that, as well as board certification, so that we can, because a lot of times we have patients that have family members in another state or friends, and they want to refer them to a QSM3 doctor, and they're in a location that a QSM3 doctor, because it's a light upper cervical technique, is not currently present in. So we would like to have more states and more cities covered with QSM3 doctors.
Yeah. So. And right now we are reaching out, or have been reaching out to students at Life University, giving them the opportunity to come here, learn from us, shadow, and they're part of like an internship where they can understand how to correct using the QSM3 method. Since this is not taught in school, this is a lot of outside training, and the best way for training is to start when you're a student, so that way by the time you're out of school you'll be ready, locked, and ready to go.
So for those out there looking to get more information, or maybe even for a consultation, what's the next step? What should they do?
You can look us up at AlternaHealthSolutions.com, or check our Facebook page at the same credentials. Other than that, to see a little bit of how the technique is implemented, you can look on YouTube at QSM3 and see a live video at that time of a hands-on evaluation, assessment, and adjustment.
Call the office at 770-641-9797, and we'll be happy to take care of all your needs.
So what can folks expect when they come here?